morning. Good morning to you. I hope you're well.
Good morning, Frank. Always good to be with you. Doing well. Hope you're well also.
Yeah, exactly. We are, and we're practicing social distancing and listening to all the orders of the governor. And, just people are smart enough, though. Once they hear the suggestion about what keeps them well, they don't want to get sick. They're going to listen for the most part on their own. They don't need to be threatened, do they?
Yeah, I think a lot of businesses and organizations, I know the RNC is doing this. We're putting social distancing measures in place for the reopening of our building when it happens. I flew this week to D.C., what the airlines have done, seeing the airport. I mean, there's a lot of measures being taken during this time when we've had to adjust, where businesses and companies are figuring out ways to run safely.
Exactly, and that's what they want. That's what is going to keep them going, because if people see that the business is helping to spread a virus, my goodness, that's no good for the business or especially the people who are infected by it. What do you make of this theory that has been pushed by some, that the shutdown of the economy has been overdone and a lot of it unnecessary, and that it's being done as a political ploy to harm President Trump's reelection chances? Do you buy that?
I don't. I think, though, that some of the Democrat governors that we're seeing across the country are extending their orders much further and doing a one-size-fits-all in their states. We had a special election in Wisconsin this week where the congressman said we've only had 7 cases in this rural district of Wisconsin, but our governor won't let us open up. And I think you're hearing that in Michigan too. Wayne County is heavily affected, Oakland County, but other counties are saying we don't have the same caseload, so can we open up? And having that balancing act of not a one size fits all. And we are seeing systematically Democrats use this to derail safeguards to the election, and it is really alarming. Some of the lawsuits the RNC's had to engage in, where Democrats have gone into states to remove signature verification and voter ID laws. I don't know what that has to do with coronavirus. And that's where some of these governors with these executive powers are really affecting the election by changing laws with that broad stroke of power that they have.
Are you expecting that may happen here in Michigan, that we may see some changes?
Oh, I would not be surprised if our governor uses this to change our election laws. And let me be clear, Frank, they talk about mail-in elections. We are very for absentee voting in the Republican Party. People saying, hey, I'm going to be out of town. Please let me have an absentee ballot, our military men and women. But what Governor Whitmer, I anticipate is going to do, because we just saw Governor Newsom do this, they want to just send ballots out, not checking if the person who's getting the ballot lives there anymore, if they've moved away from the state. They're just sending ballots. And in Nevada, they just did this, and there are ballots literally scattered across apartment buildings in the city from people who've moved away who were sent ballots. That absolutely leaves room for fraud and derails election integrity.
Well, sure, and you just think of the mail that could be taken right out of somebody's mailbox, say in front of my house here. If I get a ballot just automatically sent to me, there's nothing to stop somebody with ill intent from driving by, opening the mailbox, pulling that out of there, and filling out the ballot for whoever they want to vote for.
Exactly. So by removing signature verification, which across the country Democrats are suing to remove that, and then just send ballots, not sending every voter an absentee request form where they say, here, Frank, you might want to vote absentee because of coronavirus. And then you sign it back and say, yes, I am Frank Beckman and I would like to do that. That is part of the verification process. But they aren't doing that. They are sending just the ballot.
Mm-hmm. I know that your party, the Republican Party, Ronna McDaniel, was concerned about that special election out in California for the congressional seat, and it turns out you won. Republicans won that seat, and were you surprised?
No, I wasn't. We were winning. We were doing incredibly well. We had a great team on the ground, and what the governor did there, and this is what you're seeing with these broad emergency powers, the governor said this is an all-mail-in election. And then we were leading by about 10 points heading into the Tuesday election. And he said, okay, now I'm going to open some in-person voting locations in just Democrat areas, because he knew the Democrat was losing. and we still won the election. But that's the type of maneuvering you're seeing from Democrat governors, and that does undermine, is this really about the safety of your citizens, or are you using this virus to affect elections? And that's totally inappropriate.
Yeah, well, there's no way the governors can stop the virus by themselves right now. There's no vaccine out there, and we pray that our medical professionals will come up with that sooner rather than later. And I hope the president keeps giving his briefings. He's sort of slowed down on those, but I personally like them, and I hope he goes back to doing them every day.
Well, it's really important that people understand the strides that are being made, that we've passed 10 million tests, more than any other country, that no person in this country who's needed a ventilator has gone without one because of companies like Ford and GM. The president bringing back manufacturing, recognizing what a national security issue that was early on, and his partnership with the governors. I wish people knew that, Democrat governors as well. This is all hands on deck. It shouldn't be partisan, and we should all be working together.
Hopefully that happens before too much longer, and let the chips fall where they may on November the 3rd. We'll see how that all plays out. But Ronna McDaniel, we appreciate the update right now. Tough times for all of us, and it is going to be an election year like none other that we've seen before. I'll guarantee you that.
That's for sure. Thanks for having me, Frank. Be safe.
Thank you. Ronna, be safe yourself, too. Appreciate it. Ronna McDaniel, the chair of the Republican National Committee. And so there you have it. She gives you her thoughts on what's going on with the coronavirus and the election and its impact. And if the economy bounces back, well, the president will be more than happy because that was his issue.